Good morning, everybody. Glad to have you here today. Thank you for joining me. I ask you again, if you will, to like, share, comment on the post, and then you can follow along in 3 John, chapter number 1, the only chapter, 3 John, verse 1. And we'll look there and learn a little bit more about this man named Gaius, who is the recipient of this letter. One of the main purposes of this letter is addressing the leadership in the church. It was important, it is important, and as long as there is a church, the leadership will continue to be important, and specifically how they live their life. How they represent Christ is extremely important. Their behavior, their spiritual growth, their spiritual development, how all that comes together then to impact the church here. And as we look at this man, we're going to see one again who John, as he's written, he writes to some. He talks about some who are good, godly men, and then he addresses some who are problems in the church. And here he talks about, again, Gaius, who is a good, godly man, it appears. Everything about him seems to be straight up. John loves him. He seems to be a great spiritual follower of God. Verse 1 lets us know that he is beloved. He was a great friend to John. Verse 2 tells us that he continued to serve God, to grow spiritually, even though it appears he's having some physical issues. He didn't allow that to hinder his spiritual walk, his development with the Lord. We see in verses 3 and 4 that it tells us there that he was a man who walked in the truth. And then the last thing we learn about him in the next few verses is that he was a friend to others, that he helped other believers, that he assisted not only believers but then strangers as well, that he was just obviously just a good man to a lot of people. And first we see that he was just a dear friend of John. John loved him. We see, count the beloveds in these few opening verses. You'll find out that here on 4 different occasions, John calls Gaius beloved. And so he is very important, very loved by John. And I think the reason for that is very clear, is because of their common bond in Jesus Christ. That they both loved Christ, they both followed Christ, that Gaius had accepted Christ and then been faithful to serve Christ and to be obedient to him. He had served the church well, lived for Jesus, even when physically he was hurting, when he was sick. And so John loves him just because of who he is and what he represents in the church, in the kingdom of God. He's going to expand on that in the coming verses. But the fact that John again calls him beloved here and then repeats that phrase over and over is a huge statement about who Gaius is and what he stands for, what he represented, how he lived for Jesus, in all circumstances, and that John just appreciated that, and John commended him for that. And I think there's several lessons for you and I that we can take from this relationship that John and Gaius had. One of them is from the perspective of Gaius, that as we live for Christ, it's important for us to be well dedicated servants. We never know who's watching, who is encouraged by our faith and by our walk with the Lord. From John's side, we should learn to share with people and to tell them, pat them on the back when they've been an encouragement to us, when they've been a help to us, that we tell them, we share with them and thank them for their stance, their position. Both of these men show us the importance of people being godly, following the commandments, following the Word of God to the greater body. We need still men like this who are living for Christ, even when it's hard. Their culture was making it hard to be a Christian. Gaius's health was making it hard. John's circumstances, but these men kept on. They were dedicated to serving Jesus no matter what. We need that today. We need especially some men. We need men who will step up and be the leaders in their homes and the churches and live for Christ and be ambassadors, be representatives for Him, like these two men were in the early church. And so I leave you with this question. Will you be that person? Will you be that man? Will you be that woman? Will you be the one that steps up and says, I'm going to follow Jesus no matter what? Sickness, culture, no matter what. Nothing is going to stop me. Nothing is going to keep me from being a devoted follower of Jesus Christ. You think about it. Have a good day.